Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. So Big Fry dropped a top 5 things he wants for the Ghost Recon franchise, and it's been a minute since we've had one of these videos, and you know me, mostly being a Ghost Recon channel, we are definitely going to dive into his top 5, see what's on Big Fry's mind, and when it comes to making Ghost Recon great again, what he feels the game needs. Let's get into it. Now, I'm not sure how many hours Big Fry has put into games like Ghost Recon Breakpoint and Ghost Recon Wildlands the past 7 years or so, and I know within the Ghost Recon space on YouTube, he's not one of the more popular Ghost Recon content creators, as he covers more first-person games and new games on the horizon. Now, I watched his video and I listened to his top 5, and although I think it's a pretty good solid top 5 things to want, I feel like some of his choices doesn't really hit home and misses the mark as to why Ghost Recon in general is lacking. So in that first year of Breakpoint, you have Azrael drones flying by every 5 seconds, and it was annoying, so much that the community complained about it. And for guys like Fry, it obviously still sits in his mind about how much it sucked. And for those who played the game in those first months, that Azrael drone made you utilize the prone mechanic a little too much, so it was annoying, because you had to keep hiding to not get seen. And if you did get seen, guys would spawn out of thin air and start shooting you. But I digress. My point being is that although the prone mechanic might have been annoying for some, especially in those beginning days of the game before the Azrael drone got nerfed, I don't think the prone mechanic was that big of a deal to be in a top 5 things to make Ghost Recon better. I think the industry has lost the essence of what makes a great tactical shooter and what can make a great Ghost Recon game moving forward. So for me, first and foremost, when thinking about this type of conversation and things that we've discussed on the Tactical Roundtable and on this channel, it's things like AI teammates, ballistics. Those are the things that come to my mind right away as we move into 2024, anticipating the next Ghost Recon game. At no point in Fry's top 5 did he bring up ballistics, ammo types, suppressors, realistic magazine systems instead of ammo pools. The entire combat system in Ghost Recon is too arcadey, and I feel like that's where the main discussion should be when talking about how to improve Ghost Recon and the Ghost Recon franchise. When you look at other tactical shooters on the market, like Ground Branch, Ready or Not, or more specifically Arma, you start to realize that although perhaps we don't want Ghost Recon to be a complete milsim, Ghost Recon leaves a lot wanting with its shooting mechanics. If the game is to provide an open world or open type sandbox mission structure like the OG games, developers need to realize that 150 meter engagements for normal firefights and 300 meters for snipers is not good enough, and it's not going to cut it moving forward. We need firefights to stretch to 3, 4, 500 meters. We need snipers to engage at 5, 6, 7, 800 meters. We need an open world or level design system that provides the player an actual tactical experience and gives us something that is outside of what anything else on the market is providing in this space. I was ecstatic when Vandar created Spartan Realism mod. You guys know it. You guys know firsthand that mod proves that the enemy distance for engagement is too undertuned. The mod proves that gameplay is better when the AI sees you from farther, shoots you from farther, reacts quicker. It feels like the game is there to kill you and provide an actual challenge, an actual tactical experience. The AI can be programmed better, and Ubisoft can do better when it comes to AI and to ballistics and creating this type of exciting and engaging gameplay. I pushed that mod to the forefront of my content creation for a long time, because it's exactly what provides the player base with the tactical experience that they deserve in a Ghost Recon game. This to me is the first and foremost thing that should be on anyone's list when discussing Ghost Recon. But more importantly, in my opinion, if we're to keep playing this franchise and engaging enemies at these subpar 300 meter ranges and firefights, we are never, ever going to have the tactical experience we want in our Ghost Recon games, no matter what they change and what type of mechanics come and go. We need to keep hammering this into the developers' heads. Ballistics, AI teammates, These are the mechanics that need to be discussed day in and day out and need a complete overhaul in this franchise if this franchise is to succeed and thrive in this space. Okay, so next, Fry goes on to discuss the open world and writing of the game. Of course, we've had these discussions for the past few years, and the Ubisoft open world formula is bad at this point. It doesn't work for the Ghost Recon franchise when it comes to storytelling. Breakpoint's map was boring in the fact that it was empty and it felt soulless and lifeless, and there's just not enough there to make it interesting. Fry's 100% right here. The doodad enemies that spawn every 100 meters or so was Ubisoft's fix to provide what Wildlands didn't, which was enemies outside of compounds, basically things you can fight from getting from compound A to compound B. But they need much more work on that system if they are to have an interesting open world Ghost Recon game. Because spawning random enemies patrolling useless jungles not on alert made absolutely no sense for the game and provides no real engagement for the player other than a whack-a-mole mechanic. Now, I digress a bit again. It seems like Fry was advocating somewhat for perhaps a sandbox mission-like structure like the old games, or something like the Hitman series or the Sniper Elite series. Maybe something like Metal Gear Solid 5 where you have this open world but you limit the mission to certain areas, fly in on a chopper, complete the mission, exfil on a chopper, and that worked for Metal Gear, and it could work for Ghost Recon. Fry is not wrong here, obviously. The open world of the Ghost Recon formula needs a lot of work, and I don't think we can have another iteration of this game being another copy-paste open world Assassin's Creed cloned for Ghost Recon. I don't know how Ubisoft is going to figure out this open world dilemma for Ghost Recon, but they do need to figure it out. I don't know if it's a memory issue with hardware not being able to store or process enough for what they want to achieve, so they can't have that many enemies in one area, or they can't have compounds that are big enough, or cities that feel alive. I don't know if it's an engine issue, a development issue. I just don't get it. But the open world formula needs to be fine-tuned for the Ghost Recon experience. On top of that, the writing in Ghost Recon Breakpoint was bad. Obviously, I think we all agree with Fry here. I don't know why they chose to take us down this Witcher 3 type of dialogue, just like Assassin's Creed, with options and boring engagements between characters with no real interesting story arc, when Ghost Recon, like Fry said, should have some of the best geopolitical storytelling that Tom Clancy has created and written about. How hard is it to look at some of these movies and books and look at this universe and to recognize Splinter Cell, Ghost Recon, Rainbow Six? These are not games to take and make aliens. These are not games to take and Frankenstein them. These are specific organizations and specific tools that are utilized for specific mission types. Fry is 100% right when it comes to this type of writing going on at Ubisoft Studios. I have no idea what these people are doing. Ghost Recon is one thing, but how the fuck did Rainbow Six turn into aliens? I just can't fathom how the hell they destroyed that IP. Moving on, he starts discussing the character creator and not wanting to have these generic characters, and maybe Ubisoft should try to create an iconic team or an iconic team member that you can really base the story around. And I find myself struggling to accept the fact that I've sat on both sides of this conversation, and I'm not sure what is the right side to take here. So let me explain. On one hand, you need important characters that people can relate to and connect to so you can sell an amazing story. In my opinion, PlayStation has done wonders lately with this type of stuff, taking their first-party IPs and creating amazing stories and narratives for their characters, and pushing those characters to the forefront of what makes PlayStation gaming great. Now, I know some people might want to see that with a Ghost Recon game, but I'm not sure how to tailor the true essence of the Ghost Recon experience within that type of narrative. Do we want an important main character who can be trademarked in a sense, allowing people to connect to that ghost lead? Or do we want people to connect to the gameplay and to what the gameplay brings to how the player builds and manages their team? Are you following me? Let me keep diving into this. As far as your teammates as ghost lead, I think the AI teammates need a complete overhaul of their control system. This to me is also one of the most important things to discuss in Ghost Recon. Move to, hold here, open fire, hold fire, breach door, breach and clear, breach and frag, breach and bang. Everything working in unison. No more cleared hot open fire Rambo mode. The AI teammates need to be completely overhauled, but on top of that, giving control to the player to move these men around the battlefield so we can then feel the true essence of what Ghost Recon is and the true essence of what the Clancy universe used to provide us 20 years ago with Ghost Recon and Rainbow Six when the games were so prominent. And that is, your teammates died given you didn't provide sufficient orders for them. Bad cover, you moved too fast, whatever. Your team died on the battlefield and you lost them and you had to continue the mission without them. Do we want an Iron Man sort of gameplay with Ghost Recon rather than a Last of Us type of storytelling game? I say yes. I think it's the essence of what these games were founded upon. Now, I've had this discussion in an old video about being able to build up AI teammates through gameplay and mechanics, their base stats and improving them as you take them on deployments, and having the ability to lose these teammates, thus creating the system where that's what the player cares about. Unique soldiers that you handcraft towards specificity. You put time and effort into building a team, you care about that team, and you can lose that team. Just like that. Just like in the old games. So I struggle with wanting to have these movie type game narratives like Fry said in games like Gears of War or whatever, where people care about these characters so much that the writers don't want to see blowback like in games like The Last of Us if you try to kill them within their storytelling. So you pin them into a corner when writing these characters, and the characters are basically given plot armor. And I think the way to go for Ghost Recon is gameplay. Gameplay with an interesting enough story that is well put together to keep the player engaged, but more importantly, build the team, utilize a team, lose the main character, change the main character. That's all going to make a campaign interesting when combined with a great story that can follow it. This is going to make a campaign extremely interesting compared to the rest of the industry and the tactical shooters that are on the market, especially if you can combine a great story that can follow it. Finally, Fry brings up Ghost War PvP. Now, what can we all say about Ghost War PvP? I enjoyed it in Wildlands, I did it in Breakpoint. I don't think it's good enough to make an impact in the PvP world today. I completely agree with Fry about Frontline. I think you all know that. I think we all agree on it. I'm glad it was scrapped. I think they were misguided. And it just showcased that Ubisoft is kind of lost when it comes to this IP, man. Ubisoft really needs to figure out what they want to do in the PvP space, because Ghost Recon could be one of the best PvP games if it was done right. Case closed, that's what I think, that's my opinion. But they need to stop trying to copy the latest trend and just try to do Ghost Recon right. And I think the player base will follow. And so at the end of the day, I thought Fry's top 5 was good. It was decent, it was okay. Do I think it could be better? Do I think there are more important things to discuss? Yes, absolutely. But you know, any type of good, honest feedback to make Ghost Recon better is welcomed in my opinion, obviously. He even said in his video, let him know what you guys think. I agree with that. Guys, keep putting your information out there, whether you have a YouTube channel, a Reddit, subreddit, Discord, whatever it is. Put your opinions out there, because the best we could hope for is that Ubisoft takes note all the criticisms of Breakpoint, Wildlands, and the Ghost Recon franchise, and they make a better game with the next installment. I myself created a top 10 things that I felt we needed way back when. I'll link it up here for a lot of you guys who are interested in these types of videos and discussions. Also make sure, like I said, you chime in. I want to hear, and the community wants to hear, what you think and where you think Ghost Recon should go moving forward. But to summarize the video that I made a while back, the things I think and I feel are some of the most important mechanics and aspects that will make Ghost Recon the game it needs to be is this: AI teammates, squad size, order wheel mechanics for your AI teammates, enemy AI improvements such as suppression mechanics, leapfrogging, foliage, and the ability or inability to see through it, and for the player to be able to hide in it with ghillie wrappings and camouflage systems that work according to the terrain, smoke grenades, fog, all the things that come with programming that for enemy AI and their vision. You need a better gunsmith. You need a variant system, allowing players to create their own variants within the gunsmith itself. Ghillies and cloth wrappings for weapons, subsonic and supersonic rounds with an improved ballistic system. We need a gear management system to have the ability to take less gear so you could be faster and nimbler, as opposed to taking more gear, more ammunition, more items, which would in fact make you slower and louder. Things like that. Allow players to choose what they put on, and that provides the role in which they will play. The linear versus open world discussions, like I mentioned above, that Fry discussed. Bigger cities, bigger compounds, more enemies in the game world that have meaning and purpose. World infrastructure needs to be connected like in Operation Motherland. Destroy radio towers means communications in the province go out. Destroy power infrastructure in the province and lights in these areas go out, and the effect that it'll have on the civilian population. We need gore on the battlefield, missing limbs, men dying slowly on the ground, picking up pistols to shoot back during their last breaths, fighting from the ground, enemies pulling their men to safety, healing and treating wounds, popping smoke, flanking, suppressing. We need all aspects of warfare to immerse the player in the gameplay, because the gameplay is the real hook. That's what matters most in my opinion. We need a realistic magazine system and no more ammo pools, and last but not least, we need the ballistic system to be completely overhauled. Suppressors need to be overhauled. Let's move away from Hollywood style sounds on suppressors. Give us realistic ballistics, real sounds. Bullets affected by wind, range, detection, and Ghost Recon could be one of the best tactical shooters on the market moving forward, if we move away from the silly video game arcade mechanics like tiered loot and loot boxes and magical mystical blossoming trees. That's it. That's my opinion in a nutshell. Shout out to Big Fry. It's always awesome to see big content creators bring more attention to Ghost Recon. Look guys, we need more guys who are popular on YouTube talking like this, discussing these things, mechanics, and bringing to light some of these issues they feel need to be changed in the franchise moving forward, so we can get to a place where Ubisoft can make Ghost Recon the franchise it deserves to be. And that's it, Ghosts. I am out of here. Let me know down below in the comments what you think. What are your top 5, top 10 things you'd like to see in the next Ghost Recon? What's important to you in this franchise? Do you want that Last of Us type of storytelling? Do you want that realistic Arma type of gameplay? Drop your opinions down below. Let's discuss it like always. Everybody have a great day, and I will see you all in the next video. All right, guys. Peace.